Ladies and gentlemen, very good evening. First of all, apologies for this long delay and the very late evening. Thank you very much for being present here. Actually, Foreign Secretary, who has kindly agreed to join us, has just come out of a meeting which is still going on, chaired by the Honorable Prime Minister, high-level meeting. Without wasting any further time, may I hand over the floor to Foreign Secretary for some initial remarks. And today, given the lateness of the hour, we'll just take a very few questions. Thank you.
Namaskar and good evening. As Joint Secretary XP has mentioned, we've just come out of a meeting which the Prime Minister chaired on the situation in Ukraine. The meeting began with an expression of deep regret and condolences on the tragic death of Sri Nadeen Shekarappa Gyanagodar, Indian student who was studying in the Kharkiv National Medical University and who died earlier today. The Prime Minister conveyed his deep anguish on the loss of the life of an Indian national. As you can imagine, we remain very concerned about the situation in Kharkiv, Sumy and adjacent areas which are currently in a conflict zone. Earlier this afternoon, I separately called in the ambassadors of Russia and Ukraine. You would recall that the last time we had a briefing 2 days ago, I did convey to you that I had called in the ambassadors to emphasize to them the need for protection of our citizens, in particular our students who are in the conflict zone. They had been given assurances in this regard. Today, I reiterated strongly our demand for urgent safe passage for all Indian nationals who are still in Kharkiv and other cities in the conflict area. As I had mentioned again last time, we have sent a team of officers from our mission in Moscow to the border region of Russia adjoining Ukraine. This team is currently in a city called Belgorod, which is not far from Kharkiv. The function of the team is to examine all the options in terms of the route out, accommodation for our people, the transportation options. Essentially, this team is in place and ready to see whatever we can do to extract our students and citizens from the Kharkiv Sumy area. We have, of course, reiterated our demand not just in Delhi, but also in both Moscow and Kiev, and we have done that both to the diplomatic and the military authorities of both countries. Evacuation from Kharkiv is now our top priority. I had also mentioned that we had an estimated 20,000 Indian students in Ukraine at the time that we issued our first advisory. This is the general number of people who are Indian nationals in Ukraine. From that number, 12,000 approximately have since left Ukraine, which is 60% of the total number of our citizens in Ukraine. Of the remaining 40%, roughly half remain in the conflict zone in the Kharkiv Sumy area, and the other half have either reached the western borders of Ukraine or are heading towards the western borders of Ukraine. In other words, they are generally out of the conflict areas, out of harm's way. Now in Kiev, following the lifting of the curfew during the day yesterday and today, our mission had issued an advisory proposing that our students and community members leave Kiev, use trains, use different options to leave Kiev. I understand that since then, all of our nationals have left Kiev. The information with us is that we have no more nationals left in Kiev. Nobody has contacted us from Kiev since. All our inquiries have revealed that each and every of our nationals have come out of Kiev to the extent that we can tell you. I'm talking about citizens. We have also understand that another 1,400 of our citizens who were in this southern town called Zaporizhia, which is also in an expanding conflict zone, have also departed and moved towards the western borders of Ukraine. On the Moldova border, another 400 students have been able to cross through into Moldova, and are shelters there arranged by the MEA team that I had mentioned last time is in place in Chisinau, facilitating their movement from there to Bucharest. Even as we speak, the embassy office in Ukraine is being set up in Lviv, which will enable our embassy teams to spread out to the border areas of Ukraine with Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, and Romania. The idea is that they will be there in person. They should be able to facilitate and assist our citizens who are trying to exit Ukraine into each of these countries and leave, the conflict area. We have also sent additional teams. I think we have sent another 25 officers to all of these 4 missions neighboring Ukraine to supplement the very minimum staffing that we have in normal course. You are aware that the Prime Minister has sent 4 senior cabinet ministers as special envoys to each of these countries, and they are already either on their way or in place. And of course, these teams that are there will also supplement all of these efforts that are on the way to assist our citizens in crossing over, and also their stay and facilitation in the countries concerned until we can get them on a flight back home. Over the next 3 days, 26 flights have been scheduled to bring out Indian citizens. Apart from Bucharest and Budapest, airports in Poland and the Slovak Republic will also be used. We will mount as many flights as required. A C-17 Indian Air Force aircraft is also expected to fly out tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. And reach Romania, where it will also bring back, repatriate our citizens who are there. We will be also, in the course of the next few days, mounting more Indian Air Force flights to bring back our citizens. I'd also mentioned humanitarian assistance to Ukraine at the request of the Ukrainian government. A flight left this morning carrying the first tranche of humanitarian assistance to Ukraine through Poland. The consignment comprised medicines, medical equipment, other relief material. Another flight tomorrow will carry a second consignment, also through Poland. And besides medicines, we have a number of other items that are also there, which are all for the use of humanitarian use in Ukraine. You are aware that Prime Minister yesterday had spoken to his counterparts from the Slovak Republic and Romania to seek their assistance in continued support to our evacuation efforts. He has just now spoken to the President of Poland in a similar endeavor. He has also received calls, and this happened as we were at the meeting, from the President of France and the President of the European Union Commission, Charles Michel. So in a sense that, we are certainly reaching out diplomatically to all concerned to ensure the safety and security and protection of our citizens in Ukraine. I think we have examined every possible option. The safe passage that we are seeking is very, very important. I'd emphasize to both the Russian and the Ukrainian ambassadors the importance of providing this corridor, this option to enable our citizens to leave Kharkiv and Sumy. And I think the ambassadors recognized the necessity of getting our citizens out of this conflict zone. And we will be in touch with them in this regard.
Thank you very much. Sir, look, I will take a very few questions. I saw your hand first, we'll take 4 rounds. Okay.
सर मैं मनीष हूँ TV9 भारतवर्ष से. एक बात जो समझ में नहीं आ रही है कि हम लोग लगातार विजुअल्स देख रहे हैं कि सारे एग्जिट पॉइंट पे बॉर्डर पे सैकड़ों स्टूडेंट्स हैं, और जो संबंधित जितनी भी कंट्री है, चाहे रोमानिया हो, पोलैंड हो, या ये सब कह रहे हैं कि हम देने को तैयार है। फिर आखिर दिक्कत क्या हो रही है, क्यों स्टूडेंट्स एग्जिट पॉइंट से बाहर नहीं निकल पा रहे? क्या यूक्रेन साइड से कुछ प्रॉब्लम है? उस पर कुछ अगर आप क्लियर कर सकें।
Sir, you made two ambassadors, Russia and Ukraine. What is their assurance? Are they going to coordinate for giving us safe passage? And why they are not, leaving the whole, immigration process when the whole country is at war? Why they are blocking the people from going from Ukraine to another country?
Srinjo.
Sir, about Naveen, according to the information that you have, what exactly happened to him?
Yes, sir.
And secondly, is there any effort to get the body back as his father has requested, and I think the Chief Minister has also said he's trying to do that. Is it feasible to get that done in the situation that we are now?
Foreign Secretary, just wanted to ask, thus far India has abstained from all resolutions that have been seen as criticizing Russia. In the aftermath of today's incident where an Indian student has been killed in what appears to be Russian shelling in Kharkiv, is India reconsidering its position at the United Nations? Thank you.
Madam, yeah. Please introduce yourselves, I notice. You.
Sir, Polemy from India Today. You mentioned about our team being positioned at Belgorod in Russia, which is about 100 kilometers from Kharkiv. What is the problem that we're encountering in having a safe passage towards Russia to get our students out from Kharkiv, from the eastern side?
Last question then.
न्यूज़ 18 इंडिया से नीरज हूँ सर। आपने कहा कि करीब 4000 लोग सूमी और खारकीव में हैं। खारकीव से कुछ छात्र ऐसे हैं जो हमारी जानकारी में भी जो लोग बाहर निकले हैं। तो अगर आपने रूस बॉर्डर पे लोगों को लगाया है, टीम भेजी है, तो फिर वैसे छात्र जो अभी भी कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि दूसरे हिस्से में जाएं, तो उन्हें कोई खतरा नहीं, क्योंकि 100 लोग जो हमारी जानकारी में निकले हैं वो भी हो सकता था कि वो भी किसी डेंजर जोन में आ जाए।
Thank you, sir. Over to you.
मनीष जी, आपने ये प्रश्न पूछा कि जो हमारे नागरिक यूक्रेन से बाहर निकलना चाहते हैं पश्चिमी की तरफ, तो उनको क्या तकलीफ़ हो रही है और क्यों निकल नहीं पा रहे हैं। तो जैसे मैंने कहा कि ये जो बॉर्डर क्रॉसिंग्स हैं, इनमें से 5 लाख लोग निकले हैं जब से कॉन्फ्लिक्ट शुरू हुआ, मतलब 24 फरवरी से आज तक 5 लाख यूक्रेनियन नागरिक वहाँ से निकल गए हैं। और फॉरेन नेशनल्स भी काफ़ी हैं, जैसे हमारे नागरिक हैं काफ़ी, और भी नागरिक उस बॉर्डर पॉइंट्स पे हैं। तो यहाँ की प्रॉब्लम, ये समस्या ये नहीं है कि हमारे नागरिक निकल नहीं सकते किसी टेक्निकल या कुछ और कारण के वजह से। प्रॉब्लम ये है कि वहाँ पे क्राउडिंग काफ़ी हो रही है, लाइन बहुत है वहाँ पे। आप समझ सकते हैं कि यूक्रेनियन बॉर्डर गार्ड्स के काफ़ी और भी मतलब कंसर्न्स हैं, अभी तो युद्ध चल रही है वहाँ पे, तो इसलिए डिलेज़ हो रहे हैं। पर ये हम कह सकते हैं कि हमारे जो नागरिक पश्चिमी की तरफ पहुँच गए हैं, कम से कम उनका सुरक्षा, जो युद्ध चल रही है उनका सुरक्षा तो थोड़ा सा बेहतर है अगर आप कंपेयर करें कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जोन से। तो इसीलिए हमने हमारे जितने भी नागरिक कीव में थे, जितने भी हमारे छात्रों कीव में थे, उनको सभी को हमने ये सलाह दी, ये सुझाव दिया कि हाँ, ये पश्चिमी की तरफ आएँ और ये वहाँ से जब भी मौका मिले एग्ज़िट करें। और काफ़ी ऑप्शंस एग्ज़िट करने के लिए हैं। हंगरी की तरफ जा सकते हैं, स्लोवाकिया की तरफ जा सकते हैं, रोमेनिया, पोलैंड, जहाँ भी एग्ज़िट हो सकता है वहाँ से एग्ज़िट करें। और मोल्डोवा भी 5वां रूट खुल गया है। तो इस प्रयास में आप देख सकते हैं 7700 हमारे नागरिक निकल गए हैं वहाँ से, इन रूट से। तो ये मतलब आप देख सकते हैं इतना छोटा फिगर नहीं है। 2000 तो मतलब वापस आ गए हैं और 4-5 हज़ार वहाँ पे एयरक्राफ्ट के लिए इकट्ठे हुए हैं। और जैसे मैंने कहा 26 फ्लाइट्स शेड्यूल्ड हैं जो कि अगले 2-3 दिन में इन देशों में जाके हमारे लोगों को वापस ले आएंगे। तो ये पूरी तरह प्रयास हो रही है कि जितने भी हमारे नागरिक यूक्रेन में हैं उनको जल्दी से जल्दी निकाला जाए यूक्रेन से और उनको घर वापस ले आए। देयर वाज अ क्वेश्चन about immigration process, similar question I think. The thing is that there is no endeavor to block our citizens from coming out. Again, I think the issue is logistical. There are huge queues of people. There are, lines of vehicles that are at the immigration border points of people trying to leave a conflict zone. And of course, you have to understand that being a conflict zone, there is confusion also. There is no clear-cut control. It is not a normal time that we are trying to go across a normal peacetime crossing. It's a difficult zone. And in that context, I think we are doing our best possible. As I told you, our embassy in Ukraine has set up office in Lviv. Lviv will give them easy access. Their team should fan out to all these points to assist our people within Western Ukraine. On the other side of the border, our ambassadors and their teams are waiting. They're doing everything possible to intercede with the local authorities to speed up that process and facilitate the exit of our citizens. The Prime Minister himself has spoken to the presidents of Slovakia, of Romania, of Poland. So in a certain sense, it has been taken up at the highest levels. He has spoken to the President of Ukraine, as I mentioned to you. So every effort is being made to make sure that our citizens can come out as speedily and as without with minimum inconvenience. I think one question was about Naveen and his
About safe passage.
safe passage. Well, it is a fluid situation. We have absolutely strongly and emphatically asked them to create this safe passage. But there is a war going on, and we will have to make the best of a situation that we can, find a way. I think that our interlocutors, both in Russia and Ukraine, understand that, and we will try and continue to press them to enable us to withdraw and evacuate our citizens in good order. Now, Naveen, of course, he was a fourth-year medical student at the National Kharkiv Medical University. He had, from what we understand from his friends, had come out to buy some groceries. He was at a shop and a line when he was hit. I don't know how. I mean, the circumstances are not absolutely clear. But this is obviously there is a fair amount of, I would say it is a conflict zone, and it's a very unfortunate situation. His body has been taken to the morgue in the university, been identified. Did speak to his parents earlier today in Karnataka, conveyed our deepest condolences. And of course, I think we will not only try and evacuate our nationals from that area, from that conflict zone as soon as possible, but also bring back Naveen's
local authorities.
So we are in touch with the local authorities in that regard as well. Now, how did, I think one question was, some of our people have exited from Kharkiv. 100 people have taken a train to the west. Others also tried to take it, but they could not because the circumstances prevented it. Because it's, as again, want to emphasize, it's not a static situation. It keeps changing all the time. And, there were risks associated, they went back. Again, we have also emphasized that, to the extent possible, stay safe and stay secure. There are bunkers, there are shelters. It's important to stay safe until there is a possibility that we can evacuate you from that difficult area in a conflict zone. There was I think.
So I say an abstention, change of position.
Well, in the United Nations, we take positions that are based on certain very careful considerations, and certainly we do regard the merits of each and every case that come before us. There are a number of resolutions that have emanated from the first resolution that was an aborted process. There is now the second or a third resolution in the Security Council. There's a resolution in the UN General Assembly, and we will consider all of them, in their entirety and take decisions in our best interests. I think Paulomi's question was that is there a problem in Belgorod? The point is that Belgorod is the closest city to Kharkiv in that area, which is why our team is positioned there. At this point of time, I think it is planning and contingency planning, preparing for that eventuality, which we hope will be very soon, when our people can exit these areas, right? I mean, whether they exit westwards or they exit eastwards, we should be prepared either way, and we are making plans whichever way is possible. Wherever there is an opening, wherever there is that option presents itself, I think we will seize that moment.
Thank you.
Specifically in relation to, is there a problem creating that safe passage from Kharkiv to the Russian border?
Well, the problem is the ongoing conflict. I mean, there is a fairly intense conflict as we speak. You have been watching it on television. We have been getting reports of that conflict. That conflict is intensifying, and whether it's in Kiev or in Kharkiv, and we have to see what we can do. Just trying to get our people in the heat of battle while it rages may not be the best option. I mean, we have to make sure that both the sides are sort of in a position where they can offer us a safe passage. That's what a safe passage is all about, and we are working to secure that option.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate, sir, your presence. I know it's late in the evening. Thank you very much for joining us for special briefing. We'll continue to bring you updates as we can. Thank you. Good evening.